I want wild applause.
Books. Hello.
Everybody!
And welcome to Alpha Book Club. Happy Nerdoween. Joining me, as usual, is Nerdist Editor-in-Chief Rachel Hine and Geek Bomb's Maude Garrett. Give it up. Yeah.
Hello.
Woo. Welcome to our Alpha community. Guys, we're so happy to have you here today. You're along for the ride. We're so glad because we have got a heck of a book that we've been talking about for a few weeks for the month of October.
Cha.
We started out being like, let's do a scary thriller, let's do a murder mystery. That was the genre,
Let's do supernatural noir.
Let's do some kind of a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And then people that don't watch the show on Twitter were like, read Gone Girl, and we were like, okay.
What's the actual name of the book, please?
Gone Girl. Girl? She gone, girl. She gone. Wait, cut them out. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Girl? She gone, girl. She gone. That girl gone. Oh, okay. All right, we stopped. All right, great.
Oh, that was so magical.
You gotta get out.
Worth it.
You
That
gotta
was
know when
worth
to
it.
get out.
Thanks for my Twitter handle there. Now, don't be confused with Hector Navarro.
Don't cut to me. Stay on Mott. She gone, girl. She gone. I'm sorry. I ruined that. That was great. Your face was great. Oh, boy. Rachel, do you want to try?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Here we go.
You haven't lived
Solo
unless
on
you've
Rachel.
gone to go.
And
Wait, hold on.
Ready?
It's dangerous.
Nice
It's
and
gonna
tight.
happen.
Okay.
It's gonna be when you least expect it. Ready?
Yeah.
Girl, she gone, girl.
Yeah, the last girl. I always get. Well, I don't get that one either. But
That's fun. That's fun. All right, now my turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready? Oh, girl. She gone, girl. She gone. Gone.
Why haven't we done this?
I don't know if I can do anything else at this stage.
Anyway,
I'm gone. I am gone, girl.
we're all Gone
gone.
Girls. We're obviously
was
talking
amazing.
about Gone Girl. That's obviously what we're talking about, guys. And we have a Skype guest with us tonight. Please welcome back the only person who's willing to Skype call us in. Not true, but please welcome back Paul, aka Thrash Odin. Paul! Hey!
Hello.
Hi. Can we turn up his volume a little bit so we can hear?
What?
There we go. We're on it. Hi, Paul. Hey, what's up,
Paul.
man?
How's it going, guys?
Oh,
It's
so
good.
Oh
good.
my God.
Sweet stash.
I am so excited that I get to call in for this book at this exact moment. This is
Yes.
maybe the biggest turn in a book we've ever read.
Oh, that's true.
It is.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
so
the
true.
big
This is
reveal.
fantastic.
Thrash Odin, get into this. First of all, have you read this book before? Have you read Gone Girl Gone?
No, I saw the movie at the ArcLight
Okay.
a long time ago, but I haven't read the book yet. So this is
Same.
So it's like reading. It's like extended universe version of the movie.
Yeah, it is. It's an extended director's cut. So what did you think? You let's just get right into it. This is the biggest turn. Maybe one of the biggest turns in book history. I said it.
Well, did you see it coming?
It's definitely one of the bigger ones.
It is one of the bigger ones. I did see it coming because, again, I've seen the film.
Yes, no, I'm not asking you that question at
Yeah.
all, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely asking.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
How
But Thrash Odin's seen the movie, so I wonder if he
Oh, you had
remembers.
seen the movie.
Yes, he saw it at the ArcLight.
You did say that. You absolutely said
Yeah.
that, but I still want to know because it had been a little bit of time between
Right.
it coming out in the cinema and reading the book.
No,
you hate her even more?
because the turn in this book and in this story is like the biggest. I mean, that's what made me fall in love with the entire story itself. But it did let me, that turn and being able to read the deeper cuts of Amy's diary before, like being able to read it, really did make that turn a lot better than it kind of ends up being in the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
it's very, when you read the book, because I read the book first before I saw right before the movie came out, I was like, I've heard really good things about this. Everyone was talking about it. I got to read it first because it just changes your perspective. And when I got to that part, I was floored because you don't necessarily like the characters or whatever, but you don't anticipate that level of genius
Yes.
villainy.
Yes.
But it's so smart and you're like kind of impressed. You're like, wow, you really pulled this shit off. And I was floored, and I agree with you that they handle it well in the movie, but there's nothing really quite like this where
You kept in the dark,
you have this diary entry And you just trust that for the most part
Yeah.
until this part.
And then she starts saying diary Amy.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
such a turn.
And that's the thing. I felt like there is a sense of betrayal. And
Yes.
tell me if this is what happened with you, Thrash Odin, as well, because it's like you get this picturesque, perfect version of Amy. And I say perfect not because she's flawless. I say perfect because every little
Yes.
crumb that she
Detail.
has laid out
Yeah.
is methodical. And it's so, like, you understand that, like, she was kind of capable of manipulation, but to this degree, as a reader, I felt betrayed because she had presented this very false entry. Because all we had to go on was Nick's entries as the situation unfolded, and then her painting a picture. But the picture that she painted was totally skewed. So it's almost, and praise to Gillian for this, there is rereadability. So that you read the first half of the book again, knowing that this is just conniving material. But yeah, you're right. You're like, damn, man, you are so full of hatred. And she
Fueled her.
She prides herself. This is a competitive nature that she's got, and we've heard about this competition that everything is. Oh, we played golf, and I know that I win because I was keeping count. There's always these tiny little remarks about how competitive she is, and she was like, the reason why people get caught is because there's no patience behind it. I have the patience of a saint. I will do what it takes, however long. Planning
Months, years.
No one's going to think that I cut myself because it's so obvious that I hate blood and needles because I've been saying it for
A year.
a whole year.
A year.
Crazy.
So, Paul, I want to know from you, have you met anyone like Amy in your life?
Actually,
What? Run.
I actually just recently got out of a thing with a girl where I realized, I liked her and stuff, but then I realized that she doesn't have the ability to, feel regret. And I've known her for 5 years. I've never known her to be sad. I'm pretty sure she's actually a psychopath.
Wow.
Well, I mean, the big part of, I've seen every episode of Law and Order SVU, so I'm speaking as
An expert.
yeah, thank you on this matter. The number one thing that psychopaths have no empathy. There is a complete lack of empathy, and time again, you are noticing Amy's behavior where she has.
You know what was the craziest
Zero
part?
empathy.
You know what was the craziest part is when she describes her childhood, and she was like, I would see kids laughing and making faces, and I would try to join in, but I never understood why
At
it
the
was
birthday
fun,
party,
why things
I'm
were
eating
considered
cake.
fun. I was like, Amy, you gone, girl. I cannot explain to you why a thing that is fun is fun.
But
And that's so. But I want to ask Paul. You don't have to talk about a thing that you just got out of. If you got out of it, I'm hoping that you're in a better place
Yeah,
now.
change your
But
number.
what I'm curious about is, are you thinking about that relationship when reading the book? What kind of are you reflecting on it? Are you thinking about this person that you're involved with, and maybe what was their upbringing? Because the thing I've really noticed about this book is that, again, Gillian Flynn sets such a great picture up of these two characters' childhoods and basically how they were raised to be the way that they are in so many ways, with Nick's father being a huge kind of a negative influence. And even in this section, we got him saying, I wanted to raise a kid not like me.
Yep.
And then with Amy's parents and
Oh
that
my gosh, she
whole-
blames him for everything,
I know.
And she
some
doesn't
of
take
it's
any
justified,
responsibility.
But
Well-
but some of it is justified because they're definitely it's just a strange. They're both psychologists that did the whole Amazing Amy thing. So I keep thinking about these two characters' childhoods, and I keep bouncing back and forth between it makes sense that both of these people are assholes versus no. Amy is a diabolical
Yes.
Darth Vader level genius evil
Nightmare.
villain.
Yes.
That this is like next level Hannibal Lecter, like a crazy thing. So I'm asking you, Paul, are you thinking about how are you reflecting at all when you're reading this, or are you just kind of I got out of it?
The thing is that the thing between me and her happened while I was reading the book.
Alpha Book Club
Man.
is showing you the line.
If I didn't read this, clearly this book club has saved me, because if I wasn't reading this book, maybe I wouldn't have picked up on all those signs.
Wow, so you're reading it going, wait a
World seems like it's in a
second.
world where she gets unlimited positive reinforcement, and there's always going to be someone to tell her how amazing she is constantly. And she's on paper really amazing and does all these great things, but
Amazing Amy.
you got to get out of there.
Got to be
Oh
gone.
my gosh.
Yeah, now
That's
you're gone, bro.
crazy.
I've definitely had movies or books or things like that influence the relationship
Yeah.
that I'm in before. So I'm glad that was one for the positive, and that you could pick up on this and say, you know what,
Yeah.
this might not be healthy for me.
One I've had, I watched The Notebook and realized I could never love unless it was with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. I think I had the same realization. Yeah.
I was like, well,
I think I had the same realization. I was like, there's never going to be a person better and more perfect for me than Ryan Gosling's
Yeah.
character in The Notebook
Yeah.
because he just would, even when
He
he was.
built her a house.
I know, man. I know.
A road trip for
And he
here.
grew a beard.
I know. And then they both died in a bed at the end.
Oh, did I not know that when I first read it? I just
Oh,
thought
really?
I thought they fell asleep. And
Oh,
then Mom
yeah.
goes, and then when they died, I
And
was
then,
like,
yeah. And then people
fresh wave of just
people talk
hysteria.
about how sad it is, and I'm like, no, that's like one of the happiest stories I've ever seen. Like they
what I
were
want for my
together
parents.
for decades.
Ugh, James
had
Gardner.
such a great life. Oh, James Gardner.
But
He's
guys,
the
the
best.
book is shit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so bad. There's
We
just
won't
the
read
only-
that one on Alpha Book Club. So, Paul, besides the two leads who are sort of terrible,
Yeah.
more than sort of, do you have any other characters in the book that you do like?
I don't know. I mean, I'm so obsessed with the two main characters. I mean, I do love the. That's not true. I love the lawyer that he ends up getting.
Right.
I forget his name. He was played by
Tyler
Tyler
Perry.
Perry in the movie.
Yeah, which I mean, brave casting. Tyler seems so calm
I love him.
in comparison to this guy. What's his name? Anyone?
The lawyer.
Tanner Bolt.
Tanner Bolt.
Tanner
yeah.
Bolt?
It can't even be his real name, is
Maybe
it? Tanner Bolt.
Maybe well, a couple things, and maybe this is my own racism and prejudice, but in the book, they don't. Gillian Flynn does not go out of. Or in fact, I think she describes the guy as white, but having a tan.
Yeah,
Right.
Really tan with
deeply
white
tanned.
So the
teeth.
fact that they cast him as Tyler Perry, who's a black actor in the film, I was like, okay, good on the film.
Yep.
But then I was also like, oh, they're trying to go for like Johnny Cochran,
Hold on.
who Johnny Cochran was a famous American lawyer who helped Orenthal James Simpson, O.J. Simpson, and he was the sort of rhyming, very showy in the courtroom. If the glove doesn't quit,
I didn't put
the glove
that
doesn't fit.
together.
He must have quit.
Must have quit.
Put a very like public sort of like
He was
showy
performing.
lawyer
Right.
who has been famous for TV, and I feel like since Johnny Cochran, and since I watched sketch comedy in the 90s, I'm talking In Living Color, Mad TV, SNL, there was always a
Living
Johnny
Color.
Cochran type and like an impression of him.
Got it.
I think he's even been spoofed on things like The Simpsons. Like Johnny Cochran became
I didn't
such a
put that together,
piece
but
of
that's
pop
really
culture that I
astute.
went, I think that's why they cast Tyler Perry. Not like he wasn't like ostentatious or anything. He's very still, like you're saying, to me, I'm reading him as calm in the book. To you, he's like exacting and like knows
Well,
what
I'm
he's
listening
doing.
to it. And
Yeah.
the way that he talks in the book, he's very
Oh.
southern, which is why I thought he was like that. and
Oh,
he was very,
Southern?
very to the point.
I basically got very black guy, cool Tyler Perry
This is what
of the
happens
movie.
when you watch that movie
Yeah.
and get
So-
influenced. But in the
but yeah.
book, he's got a black wife, and I think maybe the movie just thought, oh, we're not going to have the wife as a character, so boom.
Yeah, you might be right.
I have that perspective.
That might be it. Yeah.
Who's your favorite character? In the chat at the moment, I really want to take over because a lot of stuff was happening before with Mostera saying that Nick's worse than Amy, even
I-
with this next chapter
No,
coming
I
up.
disagree. No,
No.
I disagree.
Paul, I want to know from you,
Yeah.
are you Team Amy or are you Team Nick?
In some ways, I'm Team Amy in that because Amy is a Machiavellian psychopath.
Yeah.
Because she clearly has she's committed the perfect crime, in that she's exposed her husband for cheating on her, and then so, if you get cheated on, you want to kill somebody. So she's, she's airing out their dirty laundry. She's making her seem like an angel, and then she's gonna get the state to kill him, which is brilliant. So in that way, I kind of like in that my own perverse way, I kind of like Amy in that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Nick is generally the better person in that he's, at least in some ways, trying to be good.
Let's just say he's the lesser of two evils.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he's absolutely the lesser of two evils. He's not on he's not on the good scale
Right.
compared to anyone else that is real. But
Counterpoint.
We got a
just
counterpoint from
a
Rachel.
question, because I think, look, we can't necessarily diagnose Amy, but there are some psychopathic tendencies. There are some narcissist tendencies.
Borderline personality disorder, I recognized in there.
Absolutely. And so there are a lot of issues stacked against Amy and the way she was raised, plus her deep, deep intelligence.
Yes.
And I do think she's a brilliant villain, and I just love how evil she is. Nick is just selfish and terrible, and yes, he had a rough. I just feel like I don't know. What's his?
Saving grace?
Yeah.
Okay, I got one.
Okay,
I think
okay.
that Amy
Let's save Nick.
blames
What's his-
everyone but herself and portrays herself as a victim. Whereas Nick, I feel,
Blames himself.
yeah,
himself.
Yeah.
that's the
himself.
difference.
And like I was
He's
telling-
taken responsibility,
Yeah.
even a little bit.
Like I was telling Stephen
true.
before, this chapter was designed to get you to side with Nick a little bit.
It was.
Up to this point, we had no indication if he wanted like a kid, and then we go into his
Yeah.
thoughts about wanting a kid and him imagining a son, and it's still very misogynist for him to go mostly a son, sometimes a daughter, but
Yeah.
he's imagining a kid. Regardless of being like, I could fix what my dad messed up with me, with him.
You
We could go to the
start
park.
to
We
get
could point.
that reason.
We could point to the flag. I know. But I feel
Don't
like this
do
section
that.
was meant to, with the introduction of Amy, introduce her as a villain.
Yeah.
And to get
a
you
dope villain.
To get you to go, oh, Nick is so fucked. He's so fucked.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
much.
yeah. Don't even
and
sleep anymore,
feel,
buddy.
You know, yeah, and feel bad for him. Yeah. So.
The other thing as well, I noticed, like, because, and Paul, jump in at any time to talk about the difference, because the first thing you said was how much you loved just how 180 it goes from the first half to the second half of the book. But one of the things for me is that Nick would say things where you're like, God, you're a pig. God,
Yes.
you're an asshole. God, that's awful. But now, Amy, straight away, I'm dowdy and I can't stand that I look terrible and no one's paying me any attention anymore. And then it's like, oh, she just straight out called that one fat and another one a C-bomb.
Yep.
You know? So it's like,
Yep.
oh, there it is. Now we hate her. I hate you.
Anytime she's doing anything in the little place that she's hanging out, this little woodsy cabin or whatever, she's judging everything. She
Her
hates everything.
elitism is good.
Ugh, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
she.
that's the most interesting part for me is that you know the book trains you to think of Nick as this misogynist, and you know you also have his father who's keeps saying bitch over and over again. But some of the most misogynistic things in this book are said by Amy. She constantly is commenting on like ugly girls wanting attention. That this woman is prettier than I am right now. That like if I wanted to, I could be prettier than her, and then
Yes.
everyone would
Yes.
be paying attention to me. That's
Another one
that's
as well. I've just forgotten because you made such a good
Says
point.
good dog.
Oh no, the
about
very
Noelle.
first part of this chapter, like as soon as we realize this twist, this 180, she goes into this huge rant about the cool girl.
Oh, that's
And
yeah.
what the cool
Yeah.
girl means,
Yeah.
and how in her diaries she was saying, oh, and if my man doesn't want to show up, it's fine, and I'm happy to have whiskey and have sex all night because I'm a cool girl. And this rant, I was like, I think this is what Gillian really thinks, because it just went a little bit too long and a little bit too deep. But it was saying things like, no one wants the cool girl. The man has manufactured this cool girl,
Yeah.
and now all the women are changing herself to become the cool girl, and it's the cool girl's fraudulent.
I mean, I think that is the thesis of this book a little bit, is that there is this idea of who the perfect person is, and for a lot of men, not all men certainly, but for many or in society or whatever, there is the idea of being chill, but not too chill. You're really pretty and you're put together, but not too put together. You don't
Yeah.
take too much time
Yeah.
to get ready, and all
Yeah.
of the conflicting
Impossible standards.
standards that
yeah.
you have to have.
Just quoted every comment I get on the internet. You are to this and not enough that.
Yes.
There is no.
There's no middle ground. And so it's like, I've had, you have people be like, well, you should stand up for yourself. And then when you do, they're like, oh, that was really aggressive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
there's
you can't
no
win.
right way. And she's playing into it in relationships, but I think that that's how a lot of people are. And
I think it was a great read. I think it was a great read for a man or a woman to
Yeah.
read that section and go, how much of our own personalities, whether you're a man or a woman, is manufactured to fit into certain roles in our society.
What are my expectations
Or
on a
roles
partner
with
and
your-
myself?
100%.
or
it,
roll with
yeah.
another person, because you get into
Yes.
a habit with someone where they're the together one and I'm the messed up one. They're the whatever, because you're trying to fit a puzzle and you're different. And either you're the same and you always have to be the same, or
Yeah.
you're slightly
Instead
different
of
and that's
being
how you fit.
complete people that kind of come together, which
Yeah.
is what I think the ideal. Everybody's always
Yeah.
trying to do that. Like, okay, I'm good to go, and I'll meet somebody. They're good to go, and cool, let's go from there. But yeah,
But
it's,
who's
it was really
who's
good to read.
good to go? Like who's
Yeah,
like
nobody.
okay?
No,
Nobody.
We're always all works in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Paul, you look like you were itching to say something during the conversation of the cool girl and the expectations and the.
Well, I don't know. I almost feel like part of that cool girl monologue, it might be also a continuation of manipulating her audience. In a way, I'm like deep cut reading this, but it also might be a way to get her to continue to have you on her side, because she also criticizes Nick for not conforming to like her, because when she talks about the
Yeah.
beginning stages of Nick, it's she kind of falls in love with his ability to fall into like this cool guy kind of form that she has of him, and she punishes him when he doesn't fit into like this narrative that she has for him.
Yeah.
But she never has a commentary on that, which is kind of interesting.
There's a part where she says, and I agree with you, I think it's more Gillian commenting
Yeah,
on both sides, and Amy is for how smart she is, she's just tone deaf on herself. She's not self-aware at all. But when she finds out about Nick cheating on her, she says, I had a new persona, not of my choosing. I was average dumb woman married to an average shitty man. He had single-handedly de-amazed amazing Amy. And there's another part where it's like he couldn't keep it up either. And I thought,
Yeah.
she's like, I thought that we like had agreed that it's going to be fine, even though we're not the people that we said we were. And it's like, oh no, it's not fine. He's cheating on me. He broke the rules.
Yeah.
So totally agree though.
Oh my gosh, Paul, thank you so much for chatting with us. I'm so glad that you are in this book club and are reading this book and that you
Yeah.
got something out of it, and maybe hopefully you're in a better spot than you were
Yeah.
before. And
Yeah.
what's it behind you, by the way? What is it? Is those DVDs on that bookshelf right there? What is
Paul,
that?
Paul, where's your typewriter?
Oh, that's hold on.
Oh my gosh, what?
There we go.
There it is.
Yes, it's
Yay!
beautiful.
Same typewriter that Hemingway wrote on.
Yes. Oh my
gosh.
God.
Man, that should be in a museum. That's worth a lot of money. That's
What is
Hemingway's
it doing on the
typewriter.
floor or whatever?
You're just handling it? That's Hemingway's typewriter.
Wowie.
My
Where'd you get
gosh.
that one?
Wait, there's one more thing I wanted to say about the book,
Please
Yeah.
do.
which is that Amy's plan is also incredibly brilliant because Amy has constantly been competing with the fictional Amazing Amy
Yeah.
for so long that now in doing this, she has surpassed the fictional Amazing Amy. Like
Yep.
now, fictional Amazing Amy cannot be compared to this Amy that she's now manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah, she created her own amazing Amy.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
She one up
Damn.
her parents. That's right.
Oh God, because she's so competitive.
Yeah.
She had to do that. That's
Exactly.
fantastic. Well, really quickly, what are you reading at the moment? What else are you reading? Just
Yeah.
Gone Girl or another one?
I'm actually reading 4 books right now.
Oh, do tell. This is why he's in book club.
I'm reading First to Die because Rachel recommended it.
I've never heard you make that noise before. Okay. That's exciting.
And then I'm also reading Ernest Hemingway. Like I think Cambridge Press printed up like every letter of correspondence he's ever written.
Wow.
So I'm reading those, and those are all like in order, and those are really good to read. They might be better than his books.
Wow.
Because like there are parts, because like they have like one of his love letters where it's where he like is like talking to Hadley, and he's like saying it's like I know like I know what the fight was about because you wanted to say goodbye and I wanted to say goodnight, and there's a big difference between that. And how can you say I don't love you? I love you all the time. I love you when I'm shaving. And he's just so good.
Wow.
That's amazing. What else you got? Oh, by the way, there's an outpour in the comments just reacting to how cool you are.
Paul is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What are the other ones?
And then the other one is this book called Neil's Line, which I think I've tweeted you about, which is it's like the study of an art. It's like Hamlet, but like it's a study of an artist done by like the loves of his life, and it's
cool.
really interesting and incredibly well written.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Amazing.
And then the 4th one is Gone Girl, and that's what's on
The fourth-
Paul's docket right now.
So whenever we have book recommendations and
Yeah.
Paul chimes in, everyone listen.
Yeah. Those are great.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And way to make
Cool.
it really intimidating for anyone else to come on this show. But we're so glad we had you. You were fantastic. You made amazing points. And guys, we do want to see other people from the chat on the screen too, because you're all cool.
Yeah,
You're all
guys,
great.
don't keep making me come on because I'll come on all the time if you guys.
Yeah.
Yay.
Done. We'll have you. We
Good.
can read some Hemingway.
Yes. Oh my God.
That's awesome. Well, Paul, real quick, where can people find you online if people want to follow you and stuff?
Let's see. It's just Paul Roberson on Twitter. It's PaulRoberson. And then I'm restarting. I have a YouTube show. So I'm restarting that, even though it's never going to make any money.
Great.
And that's called the Minimalist Mixer, where I drink. I make classic cocktails from the 1960s, but I use real alcohol, so I progressively get more and more drunk as I'm trying to.
That's my kind of show.
That's amazing.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Cheers.
Paul. May
Yay!
you
Oh my
continue
gosh.
to thrash
Oh, that's
for
amazing.
many. Damn, look at that. He's ready with the drink.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
cool. Paul's
That's what
so
we
cool.
encourage. So,
For
yeah.
many decades. He's really cool. Well, thanks again, Paul. We'll
Thanks,
hopefully talk to
Paul.
you later, Thrash Odin.
Cheers.
Amazing.
He's cool. He's the best.
Wow, we've got the best book club ever.
We do have the best book club
Right?
ever.
Like I need
That's the
another
best.
reason to be like gooey.
Go. There was some great comments in the chat. Maud, is there anything you want to read? I mean, comment-wise?
Oh, there was one from Java Book Geek Girl
Great
who made
comment.
such an amazing comment. I think I've read it so many times I've got it off by heart. She goes, it's so telling that both of Amy's parents, who were child psychologists or psychologists, missed the fact that she's a dead set psychopath.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
What happened?
Actually, I don't have the specific numbers on me right now, but a lot of children of psychologists and therapists
Really?
can end up having problems because they're so focused on other things or
Ask me
they're
what my-
around other things.
Ask
yeah.
me what my mum does.
Yeah, I know.
What's your mom do?
Oh, she's a psychologist.
Yeah.
What? Hey, don't murder me, okay?
You missed
We're
it,
cool,
girl.
right?
You can go, girl, but I'm happy to pretend to stab my coworkers
No,
again anytime.
Maud was just making weird noises for some reason. So weird.
Um,
And then you did it without the noise effect? Okay. that's
Oh
good.
no. Well, when you gift,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
so
Girl?
Gift.
I
Girl?
love.
She gone,
gone.
girl. She gone.
So I love when we get to the twist before, because the cool girl is like when this book came out, everyone posted the cool girl thing everywhere because
Oh,
it's,
really?
yeah, it was like screen capped everywhere because
I
Good.
do fall into that in some.
of course there are people.
I play video
People are real
games.
people. That's okay.
I play video games,
It's-
but I don't do it to impress guys.
Of course not. But
I
it's
do it 'cause
setting
that's
up.
what I want. But it's like,
the-
oh my god, you must be every guy's dream.
well,
I'm
it's,
like,
it's setting up another false narrative that.
that's everyone on the internet, Hector.
Oh my
Did you not
god.
know?
Yeah, every guy's dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It is.
I'm going to comment on YouTube. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
everybody, yeah, exactly.
I don't make
yeah.
this up.
Exactly, yeah,
Factual.
But
yeah.
it's setting up this unreal expectation on both sides, right? There's this whole thing of the expectation on anyone, not just women. Toxic masculinity hurts us all.
Yes. Yep.
The patriarchy hurts us all.
Yep.
Yes.
But
We're not
just
even gonna
gotta
fight you.
repeat it. That there are expectations on both sides, but in this one, it's nothing you do will ever be enough or cool enough. But it's also saying that if you are this thing,
Yeah.
you must be doing it for a guy.
Yeah.
And that's not fair either.
No, it's not.
That's
Thank you. That's what I
so
wanted to see.
unfair.
It's that fake geek girl bullshit.
Yes.
You know, which is really
I'm doing this
unfair.
for guys' attention. I got
Because-
told I'm doing it because I'm cashing in. Wow, just playing video games not making
know.
you money.
The flip side,
and
where-
also,
Costs money to buy the games.
who would
yeah.
anyway, that's a
Where-
whole other
where- and what
conversation.
class,
But
please, Hector?
I'm
Yes,
on
please.
221.
Well, I'm asking, at what point does Amy talk about the reverse, where she was like, I think she said something like, I and every other woman decided to stop waiting for the other shoe to drop, where like guys
yeah.
would be interested in blank, blank, blank,
Yeah.
blank, whatever that is. Do you
Yeah,
have that?
so can I read the whole thing?
Yes, please.
It's kind of long, but
Do
I'm
you
going to
need,
read
is it just a monologue? Or do you need character
we
I
could
think it's
trade
just- I
off.
think it's just Amy.
Oh, it's just Amy.
Yeah.
I want to
You
do the
got this, Rachel.
impersonations at some stage
Of the audiobook?
Yeah.
Yes.
great.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we've got time.
It starts at 221. I'm going to start with the hopes part about all of the daughters that her mom miscarried and told her about,
Hope,
because
oof, yeah.
that's a whole other layer of.
And told her about.
She was
Yeah.
competitive with
Well,
unborn babies.
I
I
know.
mean, but was that? There's a lot happening here. But she said, I've always been better than the hopes. I was the one that made it, but I've always been jealous too, always. 7 dead dancing princesses. They get to be perfect without even trying, without even facing one moment of existence, while I am stuck here on earth, and every day I must try, and every day is a chance to be less than perfect. It's an exhausting way to live. I lived that way until I was 31. First of all, woof, long time. And then,
what does it feel like to be 31?
well, I just mean to not have changed
Yeah.
that perspective your whole life.
Whole childhood.
I don't
and
know
adult
what it
life.
feels like because I'm 8.
Yeah. Rachel Hine is 8
A little
years
bit
old.
competitive. No, I'm
Yeah.
joking.
I'm 8 years old. Okay. And then for about 2 years, everything was okay because of Nick. Nick loved me, a 6-0 kind of love. He loved me, but he didn't love me. Nick loved a girl who doesn't exist.
That's sad.
I take umbrage with that one. I was pretending the way I often did, pretending to have a personality. I can't help it. It's what I've always done. The way some women change fashion regularly, I change personalities. What persona feels good? What's coveted? What's courant? I think most people do this. They just don't admit it, or else they settle on one persona because they're too lazy or stupid to pull off a switch. That night at the Brooklyn party, I was playing the girl who was in style. The girl a man like Nick wants. The cool girl. Men always say that as the defining compliment, don't they? She's a cool girl. Being the cool girl means I am a hot, brilliant, funny woman who adores football, poker, dirty jokes, and burping, who plays video games, drinks cheap beer, loves threesomes and anal sex, and jams hot dogs and hamburgers into her mouth like she's hosting the world's biggest culinary gangbang while still somehow maintaining a size 2, because cool girls are above all hot. Hot and understanding. Cool girls never get angry. They only smile in a chagrin-loving manner and let their men do whatever they want. Go ahead, shit on me. I don't mind. I'm the cool girl. Men actually think this girl exists. They do. But you don't all have to be that. Maybe they're fooled because so many women are willing to pretend to be this girl. For a long time, cool girl offended me. I used to see men, friends, coworkers, strangers giddy over these awful pretender women, and I'd want to sit these men down and calmly say, you are not dating a woman, you are dating a woman who has watched too many movies written by socially awkward men who like to believe that this kind of woman exists and might kiss them. I'd want to grab the poor guy by his lapels or messenger bag and say, the bitch doesn't really love chili dogs that much. No one loves chili dogs that much. I beg to differ. And the cool girls are even more pathetic. They're not even pretending to be the woman they want to be. They're pretending to be the woman a man wants them to be. Oh, and if you're not a cool girl, I beg you not to believe that your man doesn't want the cool girl. It may be a slightly different version. Maybe he's a vegetarian, so cool girl loves Satan and his... Satan? Is that a vegetarian? I don't know. And is great with dogs. Or maybe he's a hipster artist, so cool girl is a tattooed, bespectacled nerd who loves comics. There are variations to the window dressing, but believe me, he wants cool girl, who is basically the girl who likes every fucking thing he likes and doesn't ever complain. How do you know if you're not cool girl? Because he says things like, I like strong women. If he says that to you, he will at some point fuck someone else. Because I like strong women is code for I hate strong women. I waited patiently, years, for the pendulum to swing the other way, for men to start reading Jane Austen, learn how to knit, pretend to love cosmos, organize scrapbook parties, and make out with each other while we leer. And then we'd say, yeah, he's a cool guy. But it never happened. Instead, women across the nation colluded in our degradation. Pretty soon, cool girl became the standard girl. Men believed she existed. She wasn't just a dream girl, one in a million. Every girl was supposed to be this girl, and if you weren't, then there was something wrong with you.
This is definitely where I think is Gillian that's taken over, and it's not Amy.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
a vent.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's a vent. It's there's a lot of truth in it, but there's also a lot of shaming of people, of women that are different. And it also when she talks about the pendulum swinging the other way, it also sets up for like it's not normal for a guy to like Jane Austen or knitting parties.
Any
or
of those
whatever.
things.
And it's saying that expectation is what is also what women want, which is like it's based on, it really is based on people who write a lot of it's based on the media, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because real people are complex and they like different things and they can be versions of something and they can be whatever and they can be their true self. But when you are bombarded with imagery of what a cool girl and a cool guy is, then you assume that everyone else wants that too, because it must be, because it's up there. Yeah. And she worked at Entertainment Weekly. She worked in pop culture. She's bombarded with this kind of thing. And I think Gillian Flynn is super cool, super smart, super cutting in her language and her writing.
Yes.
And I think the parts of Amy that I like are Gillian.
And the parts you don't like are the fictional villain that Gillian created to make a story.
Yes. Because
that makes sense.
She's so
because
young.
if she's not framing someone for murder and faking a rape, which not even gonna fucking get into that
and
shit.
And lied about her father molesting her.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Is that up? Oh, is that not in it yet?
No.
I went ahead.
Amy did that?
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, I
That's
forgot. We need to stop. It was so
I told you
engrossing.
when.
It was so engrossing that I was like, I kept listening to it.
She does these horrible lies.
Yeah.
That not only are horrible and manipulative, but they discredit the thousands and millions of people who do suffer those things.
Yep.
And the ratio is 10,000 to 0.001 doesn't really, this is fiction. People don't do that because why would you? And so that is the part that's the most evil to me, where it's like, you made that false narrative about this horrible thing true once. That fucking gets me. But all the parts of her that are smart, that are commenting on everything, that are like, fuck you, Nick, like, I'm gonna be better than this. I like her.
Yeah.
But all of the evil villain stuff,
let's get into
I
this,
don't.
because I think I want to share a story with you guys. I'll share it with the internet, whatever.
Real quick before you do start,
Yeah.
shout out to T Boyce, who started reading Jane Austen recently.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
Which
well,
one?
that's because T-Boyce is the coolest as well.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm
Yeah.
a woman, and I like the movies of Jane Austen way better than the books. So
Thrash
there
Odin
you
is
go.
yelling at us in the chat, hey, I like strong women. There's nothing more boring than a
One-dimensional.
human. That's
Not a
true.
dice.
Strong women are
Here's a story I want to share real quick. My mom
listen.
is my favorite. She's the best. I invited her to maybe do a Stranger Things season 2 like marathon watch along on the internet, and she was like, "Are there going to be cameras?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." I was like, "All right, Mom, you're the best." But her and my dad got divorced when I was in my early 20s. I'm now in my early 30s now. I'm 30. I'm 30.
Oh,
Just
you
turned
want to
30.
calm down.
I was about to be like, I'm 34. So my mom, she dated this guy for a couple years, and then it turned out, this was a couple years ago, it turns out that he had been cheating on her, on my mom. This is what my mom did. My mom found out. My mom decided to confront the woman and like tell her, hey, this guy's been two-timing both of us, basically.
Yeah.
And my mom even like took photographic proof of the day when she was like seeing her guy, because they had like kind of separated and then got back together a couple months later, this sort of thing, but he was seeing somebody else. So she got like, my mom got like photographic proof of like, this is a newspaper that came out that day, so that she could tell the woman, in case he says otherwise, no, like he's seeing both of us at the same time. And she put his shit on blast in this little community that they were in, and people in their little like social circles and stuff found out. My mom put his shit on, like my mom like dropped him and also let people know that he was doing
he was
this,
despicable. Yeah.
that he was two-timing two women. And
Did the woman know?
no.
So it was both a secret.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Good on
And
her
then-
for going there.
Yes. And I think
Ally.
and so I asked my mom afterwards, I was like, well, first of all, that sucks that she had to go through that. And I asked her, why did you, not in like an accusatory way, but I was really interested, why did you like let everybody
Why'd you
know
hang him out to dry?
instead of just like walking away? And
He
she
deserved
goes,
punishment.
my mom said, if women don't do that, men are going to keep doing it because they know that they'll have no repercussion
Yep.
from doing it.
I burnt one person. I cut my losses. That's fine. But
My
there's so
mom-
many other people that'll get with me
Very-
now.
My mom,
Very timely.
who's like a 50-year-old, she's in her
Your
50s,
mom's
like
awesome.
Mexican woman, born and raised in Mexico, moved to the U.S. in her late teens, early 20s, had 2 kids, had a marriage, it didn't work out. Everything she's gone through, she's like a hardcore feminist before I even knew what feminist was.
Yeah.
So when I'm reading this, I'm thinking to myself, when somebody cheats, they absolutely deserve their comeuppance. They absolutely deserve for everybody in their life to know what happened.
Yeah.
That is the most just.
Yeah.
I think that is the most
Once
just.
a cheater, always a cheater as well. And it's pattern behavior as well.
Yeah.
So if you can get away with it once, then he will keep
That's,
doing it.
you know, I'd like to believe that people deserve second chances and people can change, because all that stuff is true too, but that's also true too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Repercussions.
hard.
Yeah.
it's repercussions.
There's a conversation too happening in the chat about how, which is true, this is about a heterosexual relationship and some specific gender norms, but
Yes.
this happens a lot in relationships no matter how you identify or what your gender is, where there is a balance of power often, and like we said, there are puzzle piece parts that fit together, like, you know, I keep using this example, maybe because it's relevant to my life, but the one where it's like someone is the organized and logical person, and someone is the emotional, messy person, for example. And and those things that you can help with each other with, but if you're not careful, it's like,
I'm the emotional messy one. is
yeah,
what I'm
me
trying
too.
to say.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But it's hard because if you play into that too much, then
Yeah.
it's like, well, then that doesn't mean that I'm not sometimes those other, you know, like
Exactly.
it becomes an archetype that you have to, like we said last time, when you're in any kind of relationship, physical, romantic, heterosexual, all, homosexual, all of the above, any kind, people, friends. Probably not your dog, because your dog will probably love you unconditionally, but
Yeah.
hopefully, that's why we get pets. But you have to be honest with each other, and you do have to be yourself, because
Your real self.
otherwise patterns are so easy to fall into, especially when you spend a lot of time with someone. If you're not talking to them, if you're not being yourself, if you're afraid, which is totally normal and everyone probably is, but you have to get past that, because otherwise you end up at this place where she's saying, I thought we agreed. I thought there was an
Yeah.
unspoken agreement that we were just cool with this, and then he goes and
look at
fucks this other girl.
Just look at the way that they dealt with maybe having a kid.
Yeah.
The way that Nick describes that was the last time we communicated was him seeing a letter of the fertility clinic saying, hey, you got to show up or we're going to throw your boys away. And then he left it on the table, and the next time he saw it, it was in the
3
trash.
days
And he
later,
was like, that was the last time we communicated? Motherfucker, you didn't communicate at all. You need to communicate. And
Yeah.
what Rachel's saying, it's very easy to fall into those stereotypes or those roles when you're in a relationship. One having power, one doesn't. One's good with money, one isn't. One's messy, one's organized, one's emotional, one's stoic. That if you do that too much, you'll grow to resent one another.
Yeah, for sure. And that's
Instead
what's
of
happened here.
instead of being like you're saying, no, you're many, many different things at many different times. So I'm going to communicate what my insecurities are, what my feelings are, what my emotions are. So this is what I'm feeling. Let me know. And then vice versa, as opposed to being like, oh, they're always messy, or oh, they got such a stick up their butt.
Yeah.
And then you just grow to resent each other.
Yeah.
But it's interesting and very telling of Amy that she couldn't just go to Minnesota. Is that where they are?
Missouri.
I'm really not good with
Missouri. United States
American.
states.
No. I'm not either. Yeah, okay, cool.
I think I can
I've got an
name-
excuse.
I think I can name all 50 of them, but not
That's-
their capitals.
That's cool. Atlanta
Yeah.
is Georgia. Anyway.
Atlanta is Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's capital
Yeah.
city. Anyway.
What's the capital of California?
Los Angeles.
No.
Shit.
It's Sacramento. Okay, what about...
Where is
here's-
Sacramento? Where is Sacramento?
Here's an easy
I've
one.
never been there.
Here's an easy
Terrible.
one.
Don't go.
What's the capital of New York State?
New York City.
Albany. That is incorrect.
What
That
is
incorrect.
going on here? Hold on. What is the capital city? What is the capital city of? What's the capital city of Australia?
The capital city of Australia?
Well, yeah.
It's Sydney.
That's enough from you, Aaron. Stop being so smart.
It's obviously Sydney.
You
It's
pronounced
not,
it wrong.
It's not Melbourne.
Certainly not.
Melbourne?
It's not Melbourne.
No, Sydney.
Sydney.
No, it's Canberra. You didn't know.
Wait, it's Canberra?
Yeah.
Really?
That's not what I did.
Not Canberra, but I will give you full points.
Canberra? Wait, Canberra is the capital city of the continent and country of Australia?
Anyway, besides that point, what I'm trying to say
I have
is
a question.
that
Is
it's
New Zealand
yes.
considered a part of the continent of Australia? Where is what continent does New Zealand belong to?
New Zealand.
So there's
its own
8
country.
continents?
It's its own country.
But continents.
No,
Tyler's from Sacramento.
I am so sorry.
But the continents are North America, South America, Europe, Africa,
We're bonding.
Asia, Antarctica, Australia.
No.
Those are the 7 continents
Yes.
of the planet Earth.
No, New
Continent
Zealand.
being a massive
This is
landmass.
Alpha Book Club.
Yes.
Not Alpha Geography
Oh,
Club.
okay.
And if someone was going to
You're right, though.
point a gun to my head
Right.
and be like, what topic, what general knowledge questions would you need to be asked for me to completely kill you? I'd be like, for sure, geography.
Really?
Yeah, my Achilles heel is
Do
geography.
the sciences count? Because chemistry would.
How about years that movies came out in? How would you do with that?
Better than
Better?
geography.
I did very poorly on the Schmodown with.
Oh, really?
Like certain
Was it
years.
you and Dan
not-
Casey?
Yeah, we bombed.
Yeah. Well,
It's very
Those
intense,
things
that.
are weird.
It's too. I appreciate anyone who can do it, but they
Amy
were like,
Dunn would be so good at it because she's so competitive.
yeah, they were like,
Bring it back to
they like
You're
get
trying,
you to
but we're
like
not
be
doing it.
aggressive and like,
Oh, yeah, I know.
and I was like, you're gonna do a great job,
Yeah.
but we're maybe gonna win.
We're all friends at the end of the
You're so
day,
sweet. You're so
regardless
sweet.
of what
I know.
happens.
I know.
Wait, I want to talk about Andy
Okay.
because
I feel so bad for Andy.
Andy.
She's just young. She's just young.
here's
poor
oh
thing.
no, oh,
Canberra. Canberra, Mystera, Can. Not Can.
It's Canberra.
Canberra. Canberra.
News is an island. That's good.
There's a Kansas
So
City in
I think I
Missouri.
highlighted this one. Let's find out.
Okay,
Did
we're going
I?
to talk about Andy, who is like the 23-year-old
Yes,
former
that's-
student of Nick.
Yes, who
he's having an affair with.
He's having an affair with, and it is
they
a
broke
huge abuse of power and But I think
Yes.
this book also plays into your idea of who Andy is based on her description and her relationship to Nick. You assume that, maybe you assumed that she is just a young girl, poor Andy, she's very young, but when I think we got to this part when they finally she confronts him close to the end, and he's trying to break things off, and it's super awkward, and she gets so mad, and he's saying I'm sorry to her, and she goes, fuck you. You think I'm some dumb kid, some pathetic student you can manage? I stick by you through all this talk about how you might be a murderer, and as soon as it's a little tough for you, no, you don't get to talk about conscience and decency and guilt and feel like you are doing the right thing. Do you understand me? Because you are cheating, cowardly, selfish shit. She sees him. She's not this
But she committed to him. She's known this from the start,
But
and
she's-
that's okay.
But
I also think-
I don't think that she's not her moral compass is perhaps the strongest by any stretch. But what I'm saying is that the women in Nick Dunn's life, the neighbor,
See him.
the sister, even they're like,
You suck.
fucking ew, like ew, you are gross, and they're finally seeing him past his charms, and I like
about
that.
Andy speech though. I also feel like that was a little bit of her
Pretending.
yelling at herself, being kind of disgusted with herself, angry with herself because the things she said specifically to Nick were like, as soon as this woman goes missing, as soon as there's a chance that you could be a killer, you're a lying sack of shit, you're a cheating shit. And I feel like she's upset with herself for keeping it going this long, for as long as she did. But you're right though, that the women in Nick's life, and I think that's part of the reason that he loves Go so much, is because Go can see him,
Right.
but she's also seen the good, because she was raised with him.
I'm not going to see good and evil for Nick. I'm going to say that he keeps attracting people that are chameleons and cannot for the life of them be themselves. In this situation, Andy has just said, I see you for who you are. I'm actually not that dumb, pathetic, woeful princess that you need to keep rescuing, which is who she has been this entire book. For
him.
Giggle, giggle. Aha, is that my cleavage? Aha.
That's not her
but
at
Nick,
all.
I'm lost. I need you right now. I absolutely must have you. This is so scary for me. That's who she has been portraying. That's why he's so attracted to her.
Do you think she's in love with him and she wanted like a commitment? That she wanted to be like, okay, whether your wife is found or not, what's
She
going to happen
loved
with
that
us?
she was a priority over someone who's supposed to be the be all and end all for a man.
I had a friend who I loved, who I studied abroad with, who was a very outgoing, beautiful, fashionable girl, and I would watch her play dumb when we would go out.
I hate that. Oh my
and
God.
but it was like she was like, people have treated me this way for so long, because when I met her, I was like, I met her as my roommate, and I was like, oh no, I don't know if this girl, because she just seemed really cool and pretty and like going out to clubs, and I was like, oh my God.
like in Eleanor.
What
was that?
Yes,
Theodora.
and Theodora.
Like a Theodora. Yeah.
And I met her, and she was like, look, people look at me and assume that I'm a certain way, and so if I need to, I will manipulate them to get what I
messed
want.
up, but understandable.
Because even if she didn't do it, they would treat her that way.
Yeah.
So she
And
used
with
it as a
other
lure.
people, she was real with the people she was close with, but like to get into like do different things, and she was 19, so I'm sure she's not doing this anymore.
Sure.
But I appreciated that place that she'd come to where she was like, people treat me like this anyway, so why not play that part for right now?
Such a bummer.
And then
I would not do that, though.
I mean, I wouldn't either, but I appreciate. I can't judge
I
that
know,
at
because
19.
I was going to say, we're all lucky
Yeah.
that whatever has happened in our lives, that we've had a life experience that has brought us up to who we are right now, where we can say, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable in my own skin, or I know that I
dyed
have
my
a support
hair blonde
system.
when I went to UC Santa
Yeah,
Barbara,
man.
and
Me too, dude. We've
pretended
all
to
dyed
be
our hair
a-
blonde. We've
yeah.
all tried it.
Still
Yeah.
blonde.
Yeah.
I stuck to it,
Yeah,
guys.
man.
I went through
good
the
on
phase,
you. It
and
works
then I
for
stayed.
you. But I mean, for me, it was like, I went to UC
Sure.
a Santa Barbara school where everyone was blonde and everyone was tan.
You were trying before you were buying.
Yes.
Hey, this could be fun. Everyone's
yeah.
doing it. I'll try it. Ugh, okay, I don't feel comfortable as this person. And I was the same. I had chameleon-esque qualities where different people would pull a different type of me out. So if I had very confident friends, I would be confident and jokey as well. If I had very, somber friends, whatever it was like I would bring a part of myself
Being
forward.
blonde is not bad. I didn't mean
Oh, no, no, I
just
didn't
meant
take it
for me.
at
Okay,
all.
I just meant
Babes,
for
my
me because
blonde
it
hair
looked
looks
bad.
real.
It looked bad on me.
But the difference is I've had it where it's like people have assumed,
Yes.
oh, but you can't be a geek because of how you look. Oh, there's no, and they have automatically placed me in a box because of my appearance. And instead of being like, you're right, sports all the way, I hate geeky shit. I have done the opposite where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, don't believe me? Watch
yeah,
this.
you
And
definitely
that's
I
the
have
way
to
to
prove myself. Well, having to prove myself to people that are insignificant and really what
Yeah.
they think of me doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's
No.
what I think of me that matters.
Of course.
But I do find it a little bit of solace in being like, whoa, I didn't expect that. That's kind of nice.
That
Oh, yeah.
empathy for a person that has not reached that point, which many of these characters have not. They are not self-aware. They don't know who they are. Amy is shifting personalities so much she
doesn't
can't even
have
keep
a
track.
personality.
Yeah, she doesn't have one. She says she keeps inventing them because
trying
she
them on like clothes, man.
She doesn't. But she acknowledges. She says everyone does it, and I don't think that they admit it. And it's like,
they
no,
don't.
people bring stuff out of you, or when you're around other friends, you might be a certain way than when you're not, but not to this extent. But I just liked that Gillian kind of took Andy and showed that she was more calculating than she
Yes.
seemed as well.
100%.
More of a fully fleshed person than we have seen through Nick's like recounting of his encounters
His
with
tunnel
her. You know what I mean?
vision.
Just
His tunnel
a
vision.
rebuttal on that notion, because we have been slamming Amy, saying she's never known who she is. She's always been trying to be someone else. When she was first with Nick, she was cool girl for 2 years. And then she starts saying in her actual diary, real Amy, is saying, I then became myself and showed him the real me, and he hated it. So she has some inkling and understanding of who she really is. It just
Yeah.
happens that she's a real unlikable bitch.
Sure. And also, I think in those 2 years, Nick was also pretending. I think
Yeah.
Nick attracts women in his life that are chameleons because he himself is a chameleon. I think he's a liar.
Toxic masculinity meant
Yes,
that when
of
he
course.
lost his job,
He was like,
he
all right.
lost
when it-
himself.
He did.
So he had
did.
purpose and responsibility, and he was the breadwinner. And he talks
And when
about
all of his friends lost their jobs, he took them all out for drinks. So yeah, because totally.
But this secret, I mean, he's got secrets, right? One of them, he's dating this 23-year-old with huge norks. Another one of them is his little alone time, which I thought was a sex addiction, was him reading his articles in the magazine in
That's really sad.
private.
That's
So
really
that's
sad.
where this toxic masculinity comes in, where he really, he
tell that.
defined
He can't
himself
tell Amy. Yeah.
through his work.
And everyone
Totally.
when he admits it to Go and his lawyer, and he's like, and then they felt bad for me, and it's like that's his only moment of feeling like he's a success.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's him exploring the real him. I think it was a new him, one that was severely lacking.
Oof. You guys are peeling back all the onion layers of this book and making it better, and I'm also a little bit buzzed. Here's
Oh
another
yeah, you
thing.
don't like this book.
I hate it. It
I
stresses me
really
out.
love it.
I love
It's-
it too.
Oh God, I hate it. It stresses me out, and I love that Amy Dunn is such a unique and interesting villain.
Yeah.
But what I hate is, I think the thing that Rachel was saying earlier. I watched the movie and I had such an issue with the film, and I couldn't quite understand what it was. And then I would see reviews of the movie and sort of like people's problems with the film critics and stuff, and they were saying that, well, on top of the two main characters being unlikable pieces of shit, it was that idea of like, now people are going to see this, and the next time a woman goes missing, and the husband did kill her, they're going to go, oh, she manipulated,
Oh
which is such a
my
crazy. It's such a crazy.
I've seen every episode of SVU.
Yes, it's such a crazy like.
No.
We're
like,
gonna have
like,
to full on talk because. Sorry, I don't
No,
mean
no,
to
please go
interrupt
ahead.
you.
No, go ahead.
I want to spend at least half of the next episode talking about the movie and the reaction
Yeah,
to
'cause
it
I haven't
because
seen it yet.
I was.
Well, again.
I'm gonna watch it again, but I was so mad by the response to that
Mm-hmm.
because think about all the other movies where some outlandish dude does a
course.
thing.
Bank
It-
heists. You
Ugh.
were giving people insight, in-depth looks at your successful bank heists, but it
true.
doesn't mean that that's going to be a thing. I want you to do something though for me.
Yeah.
Can you please, in your whole, and I'm absolutely not doing this to mock you remotely, it's for perspective. In all of your consumption of pop culture,
Yeah.
your favorite genres, how you view good and evil, can you please describe to me what your atypical, stereotypical villain looks like?
Just like a classic, like a
What is your
stereotypical
classic villain? If I was to say, describe now the ultimate villain, what would they look like?
Well, I think you're doing this to get me to say, which is accurate, that it's a guy,
Yeah.
that it's a man.
Yeah.
that it's Khan
A big,
Noonien
bulky
Singh, that it's
man.
Darth Vader, that
Very
it's
black
that
and
it's
white.
the Joker, that it's Hannibal Lecter, that it's Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Chucky. No, not really, not the Chucky doll.
Please don't ever mention that
Don't
word
ever-
in front
yeah.
of me. Thank you. That's great.
I don't know what other great cinema pop culture villains are there? Moriarty, but it's always a
Yeah.
guy. It's always a guy. I
And
think
it's
that-
very black and white.
And I think the frustrating thing is, in the same way that I love the character of Khan Noonien Singh from Star Trek, it's my favorite character, played by Ricardo Montalban in the 60s and then again in the 80s. I love that he's a Mexican guy, played by a Mexican actor, who was superior to his counterpart hero, Captain Kirk, played by William Shatner. I love that
that
he
guy.
was a Latino actor playing a vaguely ethnic bad guy. And when they rebooted that and cast him again, it was Benedict Cumberbatch. And the reason for it was because they said, one of the writers, I think at some point, I searched for why the reason, and he said, I couldn't justify having a person of color be this evil. And a part of me understands that, but another part of me is like, fuck you.
Yep.
Because you're cutting out a type of person to have a specific role.
Yes.
Of course a woman can play this evil villain. Of course a person of color can play just an evil character
But
the
for
same
me,
way
it's-
that
it's not-
women and men can be heroes.
It's not just a
and- yeah.
different agenda, it's a
Yeah.
different type of evil.
Yes.
To one that
It is.
I want to destroy the world.
Oh,
I want to
absolutely.
seek vengeance.
Absolutely.
You know,
it's
I
always
want-
a physical thing.
Or
It's
you
always
can identify with this kind of
Absolutely.
rage, not the way that it comes out, but
and
the
in the
betrayal.
chat, there's like an overall arc. It's like, is she awful? Yes. Is Nick an asshole? Yes.
Yeah.
Did he do wrong? Yes. Does he deserve to be framed with murder? No.
no.
Like,
No.
and Amy does not know where to draw
He
the line.
deserved to be what happened to my mom's ex-boyfriend,
Exactly.
which is to have his shit called out.
And why couldn't Amy just go to Missouri, which is why we had that whole conversation in the first place? This is
Yeah.
going back to what I was trying to say. Why couldn't she have just gone, by the way, Mum, this is your son and he loves you so much.
Not big
He's awful. It
not
wasn't
amazing,
enough.
not amazing Amy enough.
Yeah,
This
because
is
her
the
betrayal was
ultimate.
so
Yeah.
much that someone did wrong by this perfect person
Mm-hmm.
that she had to destroy him.
I'll be reading this and I'll be reading Amy's thoughts and I go, yes, I agree. And I feel like
then
I'm
she says something and
yeah,
you're like,
I'm
nope.
agreeing with
Yeah, I'm gonna
Gillian
stop you
Flynn.
there.
And she'll say one thing and I'll be like, see, that's why you're a psychopath. This is why you're a psychological deranged
Detached.
psychopath. And I don't know if it's not Gillian. It's like Gillian doing those little villainous lines to be like, here's where Amy went too far. Here's
Yeah.
where Amy couldn't come back. Here's where Amy made the mistake, and instead of doing this thing, she decided this was a normal thing. This is not a normal thing.
And a
Like,
lot of
went
the
too
shit
far.
that goes on in her head is so not normal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It starts off normal, but then that was fake. So
But it's really interesting because it's like the character of Amy Dunn is such a great Amy Elliott. She's such a great villain, but I also worry, and maybe I need to finish the book. I need to rewatch the movie. But the first time I watched the movie, I remember feeling, maybe I wasn't justified, but I remember feeling like I worry that she also plays into tropes of being the psycho crazy bitch ex. Do you see what I'm saying?
and
like
she
I
even says, "Don't call me crazy."
I know, and it's like I worry that it's
Don't also
that-
call me
that-
crazy, by the way.
That
I would
people
not like that.
will see the character from the book or the movie in that way, which you can't really fault the book for that because all art can do is just be art. You can't fault art for being interpreted a certain way and
Yes.
how society views it.
Yes.
But I was still worried that I'm like, I wonder how people are gonna take it. I don't know. I
But you
guess
can't control. Yeah, exactly. You can't
can't.
control how someone takes that. If
can't.
someone finds
Ooh.
inspiration,
We
for
gotta
it,
all rewatch it
I want-
before
okay.
next week.
I am 100% going to. It's on Netflix.
No, it's on Canadian Netflix. So for all of our Canucks.
Amazon.
Canucks
Amazon.
north of the border, all of our Canuckle heads, you guys can watch it. We'll have to illegally stream it on
Or
the
rent
internet or
it.
something, or rent it, or go buy it. Whatever. There's many
Depart.
ways.
Also, if you like David
On
Fincher,
Amazon.
watch Mindhunter and then talk to me about it on Twitter. Okay, cool.
Ooh, if you guys are into Netflix, I just finished Big Mouth, the cartoon show. Really liked
Oh, I've heard good things.
it. Really liked it.
I'm
Guys-
watching Breaking Bad for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Oh God!
I know.
Have you seen
I've
Lost?
avoided the whole thing.
Okay, all right, we're out of time, everybody.
gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys are the best. Your homework for this week is to finish the dang book. It says dang book in the teleprompter. Nicely done. Don't forget, guys, we're also on Goodreads. Search Alpha Book Club and come discuss with us. Is that the place? You can go there to talk about any books we're reading, right?
Yeah.
You
I'm
can.
going to go on there because I finished another book outside of...
Shut
I
up. I am
finished-
so proud of you.
I know. I
That's
finished a book-
amazing.
I finished a book without
Amy.
pictures. I'm going to talk about it. I have it right here. I finished it. It's called Star Trek
Ah, here it is.
Legacies.
Fuck, what have we done? Shit.
It's called Captain to Captain. It's part one of a trilogy. I'm going to go into Goodreads and talk about it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. Hey,
it's
you
really
did
dorky.
it.
It's great.
No pictures.
Guys, we're not going to be doing a
Captain to
genre
Captain.
poll this month, but tune in next week to find out what we're reading for November and some other surprises. For real, we have some surprises in store, you guys. We have some things that you could benefit from but just by watching, so you really don't want to miss it. You guys are the best. If you're interested in joining us via Skype, just like Thrash Odin, just let us know on Twitter at Join Team Alpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club, and Courtney's going to get you all set up. Make sure that you send us your book recommendations to @Nerdist, @Geek and Sundry, or @Join Team Alpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club. And we will
I've
see
been
you
reading
guys
another
next week.
book outside of
have you
everything.
been
I've
reading?
been listening to the newest installation from Sarah J. Maas. It's this Throne of Glass series that I've been reading,
yeah.
but I had to wait
Game
like
of
2
Throne
months.
of Glass. That sounds great.
Totally different
Really good.
books. Anyway,
Once
I'm
I
really
finally stop reading all the books by Jane Casey, who wrote Now You See Me, and some of the
Ooh.
other ones I recommended, I'm reading a one-off that's really good. But once I'm done with all of her books, because I can't stop reading them, I'm going to do Throne of Glass.
Oh, they were amazing.
Yeah.
And the sex is getting better. What?
Huh?
Lord.
What?
Okay, I'm
End
just
the show.
going to start that one.
Hello. We'll see you guys next week. All right, hubba hubba. Bye.